Hi everyone, I'm Tracy, your host for Channelers Channel, and today's session is our intuitive reading on grief with Whitehawk's wisdom. So if that's what you're here for, please stay tuned. I'm going to jump right in with Whitehawk. Okay, no, I lied. I'm not going to jump right in because I'm going to give you some suggestions on how you can deal with grief that I, Tracy, know, and then we'll jump in with Whitehawk and see what he has to say about grief. Okay, so our previous intuitive reading was our monthly reading on October, so please check in with that if you haven't had an opportunity, because the monthly readings, the topics of the week, there's playlists there. I'm calling this the intuitive readings now with Whitehawk's wisdom. They are chock full of healings, teachings, insights, tips, and remedies, and so on and so forth, to help us get through, to get unstuck, to move forward in life. So have a listen, even though it's like not a September, that's not really saying anything. Like say it's March 2013's monthly reading, have a listen, because you never know what could be in it for you. Even a lot of the weekly readings are filled with tips and healings and teachings and intuitive insights and just go to the one that you're drawn to, or just hit whatever one, and I assure you something's going to come up in it that's apropos for you. Okay, so grief comes from loss, right? And the biggest loss we know is the loss of a loved one. But I did a video on loss. I won't go through the many ways that loss can come to you, because it's in that video, so have a listen. There's a lot of ways that loss come to you. Lots of ways, that loss comes to you. And I also did an intuitive reading on death. And in that, Whitehawk was very specific about death and dying, and that fine line. And so it will give you comfort. It will give you solace on death and the difference between death and dying. So those are other two videos you can go to that will couple with this one I'm doing on grief. And there's also mental health in there, right? I mean, let's not be crazy and think that when we're grieving that, we have to take care of our mental health. There's self-care involved in there. There's mental health. There's all kinds of things in there. So you might want to listen to that one too. They all kind of go hand in hand, in getting us through. We're human. These things are natural, okay? It's the length of time that one gets stuck in something. This is when the dangers arise, when the red flag should come up, okay? So have a listen to those, and you might find some form of healing and teaching in there for you. Okay, here's what I want to say about grieving. It's natural. And it can take years. Here's where I get concerned about grieving. And this is something that I've learned. It's not to say I didn't get stuck in grieving, because I was stuck in grieving. I kind of just turned off the faucet at one point, right? And it would only be like many years later, 20 years later, 15 years later, that faucet would come on full force and would catch me by surprise. But that healing needed to come up and out to push me forward, to bring in new energy in my life. My belief is that a lot of physical disease and illness begins with the mental and emotional. So if you get stuck in grief, it will start to have real results in your body. And of course, right off the top in grieving, yes, you're going to have body signals, right? I mean, you're going to get that headache. You're going to get that lump in your throat. You're going to get that congestion in your chest. You're going to get the congestion in your sinus. You know, it was just in the before the September 30th reading, the week previous, that Whitehawk let us know where grief can affect us. He even said in our legs, your legs will ache, right? Maybe even in your joints, you'll get that pain because that's where it's coming through us. So he gave us that information on that. So the importance is to move through it. And I'm not saying it's easy. So that's why I want to give you some things that helped me. One of the biggest things that's going to help you is rest. And of course there's a balance, because you can't get stuck in rest, which would then isolate yourself and then maybe create depression, right? There's a balance. So rest, friends, good friends that understand, that'll just maybe listen, right? Nature. Nature is so powerful, and we discount it so much. People just cut down trees like it's no biggie. It's big. They are healers. They are the biggest healers on earth. I spoke of one time going into a forest, and I just immediately felt the difference, and I was just so enlightened and felt so light, and I don't know, I felt almost heavenly, and it was all filled with birch trees. So to me, that was the power of the birch tree. And for others, for you, it might be something else that you resonate with. Trees are very powerful. They have very powerful healing energy, as is the earth itself when you walk on it, right? We speak of connecting with the earth with our feet. You know, take those shoes off. Get out there in that grass and connect. I'm not saying in the forest when you're walking, you know, because that might be a little painful. But get out in those forests and walk and hike and get out by water and just sit. I'm not talking about running marathons. I'm not talking about doing triathlons. I'm talking about just walking in it peacefully. Take off the earphones. Turn off the iPods. Get out in nature and listen to the music of nature. That is so powerful. Hike in it. You know, I just want you to take it in. I don't want you to be zooming through it on a bike or zooming through it on inline skates or zooming through it running or swimming. Just take part of it. Get in that water and hang out. Just lounge. It's okay. Those are some of the biggest and most powerful things we can do for ourselves when we're stuck in grief or even just sadness. So those are ones I want to share with you. Some other things you can do, connect with crystals. This is a crystal quartz that I have here, but there's many others that you can connect with. You know, amethyst, citrines, various types of quartz, smoky quartz. There's you know, there's agates, all kinds of agates. Go to a place, you know, that has lots of crystals, or even look online and just see which one you gravitate to. This is true, this is real, this is listening to your intuition. See which one you gravitate to, pick it up, and that is the one that you need at that point in time. This one is great for everything and anything at Crystal Clear Quartz, so if you want to pick up one of these as well, just hold on to it. You know, just hold on to it and feel its energy. It's going to do to you what you need to have done to you at this moment in time. Crystals are very powerful, and they're of the earth, right? Again, connecting with the earth. This is the way to connect with the earth when we're not actually out in nature. Another really great tool is Reiki. If you can go and get a Reiki session done, or even something that's even more powerful, is go learn Reiki. It doesn't take long. You know, it's for Reiki 1, it's like sometimes anywhere from 4 hours to 7 hours. So one day to learn about Reiki, to take care of yourself, to take care of those other people in your family. And then you can go up to Reiki 2 and then Reiki Master Teacher. So if you're not going to take those courses, then find a Reiki Master Teacher. And I think even some plans cover it. I'm not sure. But even if you just go for one session, pay out that money for the one session, it is going to give you back so much more. It's going to help you get unstuck. It's going to calm the anxiety. It's going to uplift you from the depression. Again, it just goes to where it needs to go. The biggest benefit is in your body, it knows it has its own, it has an intelligence all its own, the Reiki energy, and it's going to get you moving. I have seen its miracles every time I use it. Every time. So that's another thing you can do. Okay, so baths. Baths are so therapeutic. Don't discount them. Guys, get into those baths. It's not girly. It's part of taking care of yourself and your body and your mind and your emotion and mental aspect. So, Epsom salts, mineral salts. Again, a really good thing you can do, right? Just get into a bath with these. And of course, once you're done with the bath and you drain it, rinse yourself off in a shower, okay? It's going to help to detoxify you. Put in this, for grieving especially, eucalyptus. This is, if anyone asks me the essential oil to use for grieving, I'm going to tell you eucalyptus. Dab it on cotton ball and just inhale it, and it's going to help break up that congestion. Put it in a bath on its own. It doesn't have to only be with mineral salts. Put it on 10 drops in a bath. Sit and relax in the bath. There's prepackaged ones of mineral salts and eucalyptus oil that you can buy at pharmacies or drugstores. I'm not sure what you call them in your country, but that's what we call them here in Canada. They're exceptional. They're really, really good. So this is one good for clearing up congestion. I don't have any lavender. Lavender is a really good essential oil to help you sleep at night, to calm you when you're just so, I don't know, edgy and anxious, or you can't sleep because you can't shut down that mental muscle, So a lavender in a bath is really good as well with Epsom salts. You can also buy a prepackaged one of that. If you don't have eucalyptus, peppermint's another one to use. It's got that clears congestion. Chew gum. Chew gum if you can to get rid of that sore throat or that chest that's congested. These are just little things you can do if you can't get to the drugstore at the time. Get some peppermint gum, stick it in there. It's going to help. Cough drops, Hall's cough drops. I love these. I use these. This is going to help with the congestion as well. When you're out and about, not everyone can sniff a cotton ball all day. Use this. Vicks Rub too is really good when you're dealing with a lot of congestion from grief and stuff. Vicks Rub is that mentholatum rub. I don't know what you call it in various countries. I think it's, camphor, is that what's in it? No, I can't remember. Sorry. Mentholatum. Anyways, those are really good. Anything with eucalyptus, peppermint, mentholatum type things are great for rubbing on the chest and even in the back on your lungs, where your lungs are back here. Rub it on the back there. That's going to help break up that congestion so you can breathe better, so you don't feel so lethargic and so tired, and you can move forward, right? Those really, really work well. Love these. I love these. For the depression, a really, really good essential oil is geranium. I love this stuff. Like, this is probably my most favorite essential oil. Can you smell it? That helps lift you up from the depression that can come from grief. All right. Then you will get a sick stomach, right? You're going to get nauseated. Natural Gravol. This is the Ginger Gravol. Made with ginger. This works really well. And also when I had my concussion, I had a lot of nausea. This really helped with my upset belly. And when you're dealing with grief and that what goes with it, you'll get an upset belly. So use this. And this one I think has the willow bark in it too, so that'll help with pain as well. If you have a headache or something. Aches and pains come with grief too, through the body, right? Your legs. So this you can pick up in a pharmacy, drugstore, what's it called in Europe? Chemists, places like that. It also comes in tablet form. These are gelacious, and you just pop it out and stick it in your mouth and chew it. Chew it. And it's just pure ginger, and it's going to help that wonky belly that we get. These would be good too, for like exams and stuff like that. Anytime we get those wonky bellies, first dates, whatever. Okay, I'm continuing on with the baths. Sorry, I got off there. So any type of bath bomb. This one's from Lush. This one's patchouli. Patchouli I find very grounding, so that can ground you with the earth as well. But go in and just see which scent you're attracted to, and sit in the bath. Just sit in the bath. It's so therapeutic. So those are good. Another thing that helps me, so when you're crying a lot, right, you're losing salt, a lot of salt. So electrolyte drinks. So here in Canada we have Powerade, we have Gatorade, there's Mio. Just get those electrolytes back into you. Get that salt back into you, because you're crying so much that loss of salt in your system again you're gonna be tired, fatigued, dealing with lethargy a lot. This is gonna help brighten you up a little bit, right? Like there'll be those people who say, well, electrolytes aren't good in large amounts. Okay, but if you've had a big cry, I'm going to tell you to drink one of these. It's going to help, okay? And some people even say, like with headaches, if they're dehydrated, and maybe you are dehydrated with grief because you're crying so much, right? And you're probably not eating properly or drinking enough. Fill her up, baby, fill her up. This really helped me, again, with concussions as well. And any time that I've had a big, ugly cry. Which brings me to the big, ugly cry. And this means you too, boys, because crying is detoxifying, it's cleansing. It's going to be from the big belly cry where you're just going to probably feel like either you're going to throw up when you're crying, you're going to have big ugly sobs that come out of you, maybe your nose is going to run, maybe you're going to get the drool coming down. Just let it out, let it rip, seriously, because that is going to free up so much energy, and again, the lethargy and the fatigue, and it's going to heal you from the pain that's within, from what you're going through, right? Let it out. Don't be afraid to let it out. I don't know, maybe in your family you grew up, that emotions are not meant to be shown. Show them. Let this cry out, because it's going to be so cathartic for you, and it's going to help you to move forward in your life. So let out that big, ugly cry. Other things I use as guidance and support to get me through difficult time frames. This is Jamie Sam's Earth Medicine book, and it's filled with First Nations, but also known as Native American Indian spirituality teachings and healings, which again are priceless. So, read them. There's various ones. And for me, all I do is I hold it up against my belly. Sometimes I just say, okay, what do I need to hear today? What's going to help me today? And then I open it up to the page and I read what that page says. And it's very apropos. So that's one way I get through it. So if you're dealing with grief, you might say something like, how could this have happened? Why did this happen? You don't even have to ask anything. Just hold on your belly, take a cleansing breath, and it's going to take you to the best possible answer it has. And that also brings me to dealing, oracle cards, tarot cards. This is what I use, Doreen Virtue's fairy cards, and I think this is Doreen Virtue's magical card. She has tons of them. Jamie Sam's has medicine cards, so if you gravitate more towards animals, she has those, but there's a ton of these cards out there. And again, you'll probably find them same place you find crystals, right? These, for the lack of, I can't think exactly what you call those stores, spiritual stores or new age stores. You're going to find all this stuff, and there's probably a plethora of stuff in those stores that are going to help you and ground you and bring you solace, right? I do 3 card spreads with these. I got this for my daughter. I'll probably be getting animal totem ones for my son. There's archangel ones, so for the men, that it doesn't have unicorns and fairies. There's archangel ones. Other ones too, I can't think off the top of my head that maybe you're going to gravitate to, but again, ways to help us get through it. So that's that, and I've almost forgotten why we've come here. It's more like an intuitive reading, right? Get out in nature. There's so many wonderful smells you're going to smell. Maybe you'll smell lemon balm, maybe you'll smell peppermint that's growing, pine trees, you'll smell the pine that comes out, and all that stuff is very healing. So there's many other things, but that's what's coming off the top of my head that I'm going to help you with. So God bless on your journey, and let's go get Whitehawk. Indeed, he says, grief, 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 grief. What is grief? What can we do about grief when so many of us are stuck in this world in grief? Well, my children, there's no doubt it's not an easy time in life. It's certainly not the most joyful time, n'est-ce pas? Meaning, is it not? But grief is a necessary part of our world, of life, children. And it is something we have to move through. It is something we have to feel it, to relieve it. Or as I always say, one must grieve it to relieve it. And as I'm talking, I don't know if you can hear it, my breath, and the heaviness of my breath, and just needing to take those deep breaths, because it's like I'm having problems breathing, and my chest is paining me. Indeed, he says, we did speak of many ways in which grief can affect our body, our mind, our soul. And so, my children, it is natural in life to have to deal with grief, but you are not alone in your grief, my children. You are not alone in your grief. And I look. And just a moment ago, Jesus let me know that he was here. And Whitehawk says, indeed, he's always around. N'est-ce pas? Is it not so? Kind of what n'est-ce pas means. He's always around. N'est-ce pas? And I shake my head, yeah. No one knows this more than she herself here, he says, that Jesus is all around and has always been around, and that the magic is always around, he says. And oftentimes the magic itself is indeed in just the loss, in the grief, he says, that moves us forward. There is always magic, and no more so, he says, than in grief and in loss. And I know it is hard for you to understand that, for you to digest that, as you are going through your grief. But it is so, and one can see it if you look back. And when you look back, you will see the blessings. You will see the magic in it all. And he blesses himself. He says, so be blessed, my children, in your newfound knowledge of grief. Oh no, I'm not going to tell you much else, he says. And I know you are angry. You're wondering, ugh, is this all I came here for, to be told grief is part of life? But it is, children. It is part of life. It is a very natural and essential part of life. But the part that is troubling is when you get stuck. That is the troubling part. And then a lot of people are, chirping and chiping up and saying, or speaking up and saying, but I don't get it, so how do we get rid of it? You talk of us getting stuck in it, and that's a natural part of it, so help us. How do we get through this, oh old wise one. This person's being quite sarcastic, actually. And he says, yes, there it is. There's the anger that sometimes, he says, can come with grief. Is it not? And that kind of stops the guy in his tracks. But my child, he says, if you were to grieve it, to relieve it, there would be less anger. There would be no anger. For indeed, the anger is just a mask to the sadness you feel deeply. He says, you feel deeply. That is all that anger is. So to benefit you, mostly, but as well to benefit those around you, and to live your life fully, is to grieve it. Grieve it, children. You are doing yourself no good holding on to it. For indeed, for a lost one, you are doing no good in holding on to them and thinking that if I do not grieve it, then they will always be with me. It is not so. It is not the case. They will be more with you when you grieve it. Let it go. Let them go. It is you who has the most difficult job now. You. For you are still here. You are still living. This is your life that you have been given to remain here on earth with others. So in order for you to move forward in the name of the Lord, in the name of this person, in the name of whatever else you are grieving, you must relieve it. You must let it go. Let it go, children. It is doing you no good sitting within you here or wherever else it is residing and sitting and staying with you. It is doing you no good. It is doing you more harm, and you will not live the value of life that you are meant to live here on earth with the others. So let it go, children. Let it go. It is not giving you power. It is taking your power by allowing it to sit here, to manifest here, to stay here, to perhaps even take your life faster than you are meant to go. So let it go, children. You will not lose the memory of that person or that place or that thing. You will not. If anything, you will be paying homage and an ode to that place and that place and that, to that person, that place, that thing, by letting it go. For the memory will live faster, will live longer, will protrude you to the future, will protrude you to the future that you so desire within yourself. So let it go, children. Let him go, let her go, let it go, let them go. Let it go. And move forward. Move forward. We all feel heavy. And we're all taking in his words. We feel heavy and we feel like we're just going to burst into absolute tears, or that we're going to collapse from the pain, collapse from the lethargy that the grief is giving us, just collapse from the sadness. He says, indeed you are. And allow yourself to do so. Allow yourself to collapse, for it is a release. It is a letting go. Let it go. And I have this one vision in my mind when my mom's mom died, and I remember seeing my mom collapse in my brother's arms. She just collapsed because there was just so much grief. And in that, she cried, she collapsed, but there was someone there to catch her. And I guess in doing so, she released a lot of grief. Probably not all of it, but a lot of it. And he says, indeed, release it, let it go. And your inner light, your inner butterfly will come back and will show. God bless, little ones. God bless. Grieve it. Truly leave it. Let it go. And then it's like he goes like this. And I see all these butterflies come out and fly. Different colors, just beautiful, magnificent colors. Royal blues and blacks and oranges and pinks. And it's just spectacular. Grieve it, to really leave it. And he bows to us and he says, God bless. And he is sitting. I thought the reading was over, but it's not. And I certainly wouldn't want to end it at a time if there's something more important or even of some importance. And he's sitting cross-legged on the ground, and he himself is quite. He's dressed in all dark clothing. Usually when I see him, he's in white, and today he's dressed in very dark clothing, and he's cross-legged and he's sitting on the ground, and then he just starts. Hey, 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 hey. And he keeps singing this, and he's sitting there, and it's just getting louder and louder and louder and louder, and it's like he's raising, and then it's almost like he takes his arms as he's singing, and he's like, hey, 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 and then he looks up as he's doing this as well. And then he gets up and he actually starts doing a dance to it. He's moving his body, and he's singing the song at the same time, or chanting, I guess it's called, and he's chanting and just letting it go, like he's just letting it rip, and it's like he's paying homage and ode to the earth and to the heavens and to God and to the people who have passed, or the loss that has been lost, and he's just letting it go. It's like he's taking, because at some point when he's dancing, and I'm not getting up and dancing, he's like, na na na, like when you see them when they dance, and it's like he's taking from the earth, he's taking the pain from the earth, and he's dancing it up and releasing it to the heavens. And he's dancing around, and then he'll collect some of the stuff, and then he brings it up to the heavens and releases it. And it's not necessarily that he's chanting all the way through while he's doing this. It's like he chanted, then he stood up, and he did his dance, and took the energy, and took it from the ground, and then released it up to heaven. And he just is doing this for however long, and he's just doing it, and then finally he stops. And he sits down in his Muskoka chair and takes a stick and plays with the embers in the fire, because all this is also happening, sorry, around a bonfire. At first I didn't see it, but now I see it. Not a huge bonfire, sorry, just a little, fire. And by doing that now, he's calmed himself, he's relaxed himself, that he can just sit by the fire and enjoy it, taking its tranquility and its peace and quiet. And then he blesses himself, he looks at me, and he does this to me. Thanks, Whitehawk. So there you go. That is our reading on grief. I hope there are a lot of tips there that help you guys move forward. And that's a first. I'm laughing during a thing of grief, and I apologize if it affects anyone. I don't mean it to be malice, but like the fact that I chanted for you, it's a good thing I didn't get up and do the dance. But you know what? Like, I think we should all get up and do those dances. Like, there's something to be said about doing that and chanting. Sit down and chant. Pick a chant and just go with it, whether it be Om or, chant the Lord's Prayer. Just raise that vibration by chanting. Just do it. It works. And there was one that Whitehawk taught us a while back about, all we are saying is give peace a chance. And we're just to constantly sing that, and that would raise our vibration. Now you can go back and you can chant that which it is that Whitehawk was chanting, because it seems to be pretty easy. And I can't quite remember it right now, but I think I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen and try it and see. And it probably will release a lot of the pain in the body by chanting, getting rid of it. All right. Well, I hope that this intuitive reading has taught us something, has brought us to a place of healing and comfort so that we can move forward in life. So, God bless. I'm Tracy for a Channels Channel.